The first time Daniel saw Amara, she was arguing with a bus driver. Not shouting, not rude, just determined. "You said this bus stops at Hill Street," she insisted, clutching a worn leather bag to her chest. "It does," the driver replied, "but not after 6 p.m. Amara blinked, clearly fighting frustration. "But I work until 7. Daniel, sitting in the third row, watched the exchange over the rim of his book. He didn't know why it held his attention. Maybe it was the way she stood her ground without raising her voice. Maybe it was the tiredness in her eyes. Or maybe it was the fact that when she finally sighed and turned to leave, she looked alone, without thinking. He spoke. "I get off at Hill Street," he said. "I can show you the shortcut from the next stop." She hesitated, looked at him, measured him. Then she nodded. "Thank you." That was the beginning. At first, they were strangers sharing silence. They walked side by side down narrow streets lit by flickering lamps. Their footsteps echoed in quiet rhythm. Sometimes they spoke, sometimes they didn't. He learned she was a nurse. She learned he was a sculptor. He learned she liked tea with too much sugar. She learned he liked to pretend he didn't care about people, even though he clearly did. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. They became part of each other's routines, like sunrise and sunset. They never called it friendship. They never called it anything at all. Love did not arrive suddenly. It did not crash into them like a storm. It grew quietly, like roots beneath the soil, invisible, patient, certain it was in the way. Daniel began carrying an extra umbrella on cloudy days, even when the forecast promised sun. It was in the way Amara started bringing him food from the hospital cafeteria, pretending she had ordered too much. It was in their silences, which never felt empty, only full. One winter evening, the city froze. Snow fell in heavy sheets, covering roads, cars, and rooftops. Daniel waited at the bus stop, and waited, and waited. But Amara did not come. His chest tightened with a fear he could not explain. He told himself she was busy. Nurses were always busy. Still, he walked to the hospital. He told himself it was nothing. But when he saw her through the glass doors, sitting alone, shoulders trembling, he realized how wrong he had been. He stepped inside Amara. She looked up. "Surprised my father died," she whispered. Daniel didn't know what to say, so he sat beside her. He didn't offer empty words. He didn't offer false comfort. He just stayed. And after a moment, she leaned into him. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. That was the first time they touched. Years passed. Not everything was easy, they argued. They misunderstood each other. They drifted apart sometimes, like tides pulled by invisible moons. But they always found their way back. Because love, the kind that grows slowly, does not disappear easily. It survives storms. It survives silence. It survives time. One evening, many years later, they sat on a bench overlooking the same road where they had first walked together. Amara's hair now carried strands of silver. Daniel's hands were marked by time. "Do you remember the bus driver?" she asked softly. Daniel laughed. "He changed my life without knowing it." Amara smiled. "No," she said, "you did." Daniel looked at her, really looked at her, at the woman who had become his home. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, day by day, moment by moment, choice by choice. He reached for her hand, and she held his. Not tightly, not desperately, but surely, like something that had grown for years, and would continue to grow, for the rest of their lives.